Hey everyone, welcome back to channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting, history, and the values behind your pocket change. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. Now today we've got an interesting topic for all you coin enthusiasts out there. We're talking about the 1983 US quarter dollar. Whether you're a seasoned fighter collector or just starting out, the 1983 quarter might be a coin you've come across, and you're probably wondering, what's it worth in circulated condition? Well, stay tuned as we break it down in detail. First, let's take a quick look at the quarter itself. The 1983 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been in circulation since 1932. As you can see, the obverse, or front, features George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, and on the reverse, you'll find a bald eagle, designed by John Sinek. This design has remained largely unchanged for decades, though we've seen some variations over the years with special releases. So let's get to the main question. What's a 1983 quarter worth in circulated condition? Well, if you're holding a regular 1983 cases, unless it's in pristine condition or has some special characteristics, you're probably looking at a quarter that's worth just 25 cents. But let's take a closer look at why it might still be worth checking the details before you toss it back into your change jar. One of the first things you'll want to check on any US coin is the mint mark. This tells you where the coin was produced. For the 1983 quarter, there are 3 potential mint marks. The mint mark can be found just beneath Washington's neck on the obverse side of the coin. Now, while the mint mark doesn't typically change the value of a circulated 1983 quarter, it can be a point of interest for collectors. The Philadelphia Mint is where most of the 1983 quarters were made, so they're the most common. But the Denver and San Francisco minted coins are a little rarer. First, let's talk about condition. Coins that are well preserved and have little to no wear and tear are considered uncirculated. These coins, fresh from the mint, can command a higher price among collectors. So if you have a 1983 quarter that looks like it just came off the press, it could be worth anywhere from 50 cents to a couple of dollars, depending on its exact condition. Next up, special varieties. While the 1983 quarter isn't known for any major minting errors like doubling or misshapes, there are always small variations that might catch a collector's eye. For example, some 1983 quarters might have die cracks struck through grease or other minor imperfections that make them stand out. These coins could be worth a bit more than a regular 1983 quarter, especially if they're well-known varieties that collectors are actively seeking. But there's one more thing to consider: the silver content. This might not apply directly to the 1983 quarter, but is a good thing to keep in mind when you're collecting older quarters in general. U.S. quarters struck before 1965 contain 90% silver, which makes them much more valuable than modern quarters like the 1983. However, since the 1983 quarter is made of a clad composition, which means a copper core with a nickel coating, its melt value is pretty low and the silver content is 0. So, unless you're dealing with an error coin or a very high-quality piece, it won't have the same precious metal value as those older quarters, aka quarters higher than 83%. More recently, the average shell value has been rising faster than the shell value of quarters below a cadence. So now that we've covered the basics of the 1983 quarter, it's time for a quick recap. If you find a 1983 quarter in your pocket change, it's probably worth the 25 cents it shows on the face. But if it's in excellent condition, or if it has some unique feature, it could be worth a little extra to collectors. As always, it's important to carefully examine your coins for any potential varieties or errors that could make it stand out. The 1983 quarter didn't have any significant changes in design or composition, but there were several important events in U.S. coinage leading up to its production. The 1976 quarter featured a special reverse design to mark the 200th anniversary of the U.S. independence. This was the only year in the 20th century where the reverse design of the quarter was changed. After 1976, the regular Washington quarter design was restored, and the design would remain in place for decades, including the 1983 quarter. In 1965, the U.S. government passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which ended the use of silver in most circulating coins, including the quarter. Instead, they switched to a clad composition of copper and nickel, which continued in the 1983 quarter. The 1983 quarter, like all coins after 1964, was produced using this copper-nickel. Quarters that filled wallets, vending machines, and coffers across the nation. During this time, the U.S. Mint was focusing on ensuring that there was a steady supply of currency to match the increasing demands of an expanding economy. For collectors, the 1983 quarter is not particularly rare, and its value in circulated condition remains very close to its face value, 25 cents. However, there are a few nuances that make certain 1983 quarters more collectible. The vast majority of 1983 quarters were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, meaning they don't have a mint mark. The Denver and San Francisco mints produced far fewer quarters, so these can be more sought after by collectors. While the 1983 quarter may not have the same iconic status as older quarters, like those from the pre-1965 silver era, it represents a key moment in U.S. coin history. The death of the old coin and the presence of the new one. It's part of the transition away from precious metals in the production of everyday coins, a shift that allowed the U.S. Mint to continue producing large numbers of coins at a reasonable cost. In the years since, the 1983 quarter remains a staple in pocket change across the U.S., and it continues to be collected by numismatists, especially those interested in post-1964 coinage. And the World Trade Center production area always stays open all year round, leading to several thousand boxes sent to the Mint at least once a year, and many remain to be taken this year. As an important part of U.S. coin history, the shift to copper-nickel-clad coins marked a significant chapter in the evolution of U.S. coinage, and the 1983 quarter serves as a reminder of the country's changing economic and minting practices during that time. The last coin chart. Whether you're just starting your collection or you're a seasoned numismatist, the 1983 quarter is a piece of history worth knowing about. Thanks for tuning in to today's deep dive on the 1983 U.S. quarter. I hope you found this information useful. If you've got any 1983 quarters lying around, now you know what to look for and whether they might be worth a little more than their face value. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to H Tutorials on YouTube or the museum's website for better, more travel information than side tourist data. Head on over to your channel name for more coin collecting tips, tricks, and news. Leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare 1983 quarter, or if you have any questions about other coins in your collection. Until next time, happy collecting.